I love how Paul Thomas Anderson introduces us to the world of punch-drunk love. The scene opens with a shot of Barry Egan, our main protagonist, wearing a blue suit sitting at his desk in front of a blue striped wall. Nice choice of attire, Barry.
Yeah, it's hard to understand because it says in addition to, but I can't exactly understand in addition to what because there's actually nothing to add it to.
So he's calling about a potential marketing flop that would allow him to accumulate a ridiculous amount of frequent flyer miles at a bargain price. Yep, you heard that right. All of a sudden, he hears thwangs. That sounds like a thwang, right? Okay, so he's walked out, and he's looking at the very little traffic there is on the street. Wait. What? So if you're like me, at this point in the film, you were probably asking yourself, what just happened, and what does Barry do about it?
I'm not sure what that means.
Oh, how strange. All that shit just happened out there and Barry just waltzed back inside? Okay, so Barry's walking outside again. Piano's still out there. And oh! Who is that? Oh! An interesting woman appears.
There's a piano in the street.
Bravo. Bravo. So Barry's afraid. He's hiding. Now he peeks outside. He's walking out. He's walking out. He's walking out. He's staring at the piano. Still staring at the piano. I know you want it. I know you want it. I know you want it, Barry. Come on, Barry. Take it. Take it. Take the piano. Bingo, baby! Can we just adore how Adam Sandler runs while he's carrying this thing? It's like the goofiest, most Sandlerian thing ever. Okay, so now the piano's in his work office? He's figuring out how to play this thing. Good for him. It looks like he's figured something out. Oh wait, there's music? Whoa! Who's he?
Morning, Barry. You okay?
Yes.
He really seems like a nice guy.
What's this?
The music in the background is still going.
I believe this is a small piano. Where'd you get it? It was dropped in the street.
Indeed it was.
Why are they here?
Cause it's a fucking piano! Why would you want a piano?
Barry? Barry?
The volume's creeping
I
up.
don't know.
Oh my goodness. That is beautiful. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the opening scene of Punch Drunk Love. Easily one of my most cherished movies ever. I personally think this is PTA's greatest film. Yes, better than There Will Be Blood. One of the reasons why I adore this movie so much is because of the impression the first 10 minutes left on me. I remember watching this movie for the very first time and being like, okay, what the fuck is going on? Why is the director showing me this? And as the viewer, you should be asking that question. Why is the director showing us this? What does it all mean? How does it relate to the theme of the movie or the story itself? Is it literal? Is it metaphorical? Is it a dream? Is it not a dream? And I think the opening scene, upon first viewing, fairly warrants those questions. So, what was going on? And what did it all mean? A few days ago, I rewatched the movie for the 4th time. And I think I have the answer. Sort of. First, Let's rewind to the beginning of the scene. Barry, his clothes, the wall. What do you see, and how does it make you feel? Well, his clothes match the color of the wall. Someone must have noticed that during filmmaking. And if someone must have noticed it, it was probably intentional. So what does it mean? Well, the film could be suggesting that our lead character likes to blend into the background, because he likes to camouflage, right? And that's not wrong. That's Barry. But I think there's more to the stylistic choice than just a punchline. So this is my reading of the mise-en-scène. In this frame, one thing that stands out is color. And it's not a vibrant red or a sparkling yellow. No, it's a dark, somber blue. I think the blue sets the mood of the film. We're immediately punched in the face with a strong sense of melancholic isolation within our character. Also within the mise-en-scène, you can't help but notice the sheer amount of negative space in the frame. It makes Barry appear small and timid and inconsequential. And as I said before, here Barry is making a call about an issue most would deem trivial. I mean, he's talking about taking advantage of frequent flyer miles through a marketing error. This shows who Barry is as a person. He's kind of neurotic and strange, and let me be clear, this quirky, out-of-the-box characterization is not a bad thing at all. To me, it's very important to note that Barry is not some horny, handsome hotshot hunting for women, unlike him, or him, or him. I think this choice in characterizing Barry in this way establishes not just a sense of relatability, but also a strong sense of vulnerability. Now, let's fast forward to the scene on the street. First of all, what the fuck, right? Well, let's talk about it. I've heard plenty of suggestions that the car crashing in represents reality crashing into Barry's life. Get it? It's not a bad interpretation per se, but again, this analysis is nothing beyond the limits of a silly, goofy punchline. So, here's my take. I think people overanalyze the hell out of this scene, because I just think the car crash is supposed to be just a car crash. An event or occurrence or a moment in time we can safely deem as surprising or unexpected. Unexpected. Now that's an important adjective. Unexpected is probably the perfect word to describe the mood of this scene, because of what comes next. My question to you, what do you make of that? How would you respond to something like that? Something so unexpected, something so out of the blue, and you don't even have to be standing on the sidewalk watching the cars drive by. No, you can be running, or sitting on the toilet, or reading a book, or eating a burrito. What do you do when life throws something so random at you? Now that, ladies and gentlemen, is the essential question. What do you do? Do you just sit there and watch like a spectator? Do you walk back inside, ignore what's out there, and continue hiding within your comfort zone? Or do you go outside, face your fears, take that risk, and potentially change your life for the better? You know what it is? It's the classic red pill, blue pill scenario. And I find it very interesting how Barry, a man who has always settled for the blue pill, or blissful ignorance, to be more literal, all his life, is dressed up in blue. And ladies and gentlemen, that's why Barry is Neo. No, I'm just kidding. It's probably just a freaky coincidence. But you see what I mean, right? For a moment, Barry goes back inside, he continues doing his work, he continues to follow his comfy routine until...
Do you work at the mechanic?
The girl! See, the girl is sort of the reality crashing in. And again, conveniently enough for my analysis, she's dressed up in red. As pleasantly beautiful as she is, the woman represents the red pill, or the unpleasant truth that Barry must face. That truth is, if Barry ever wants to live a happy and fulfilling life, he must learn to leave his comfort zone, to take risks, to dare. And surely enough, he does. Now what the hell is the deal with this peculiar piano Barry's picked up? Well, Barry tries to work with it. It's not perfect, but it's real. And if his efforts are fruitful, he can make something beautiful out of it. And Barry's got something going here. The piano seems to be getting better and better, and then Lance walks in, and Barry is reminded of work, the excuse that he often uses to keep himself imprisoned in this cozy cell of his. But of course, the interest is still directed toward the piano. So, what does the piano symbolize?
I believe this is...
Well, based on what Lance said,
It's not a piano, I got a piano at home.
Oh.
at first I thought the piano represented love. You know how Lance is probably a settled family man with a wife at home, and honestly it could. But I think it better represents an opportunity. And as of right now, Barry still doesn't know what to make of this piano, this opportunity, but it's still an opportunity at something new, something interesting, something potentially remarkable. At least once in our lives, the universe will deliver something to us that might be great, or fucking atrocious. In Barry's case, of course, it was Lena. But for us, the viewers, that's for us to decide with the randomness of our own lives. And finally, to end the opening scene of the film, we have the bright, glimmering, hopeful color mosaics. Underscoring these frames is the film's beautiful overture. And that's what the opening scene is, an overture. A microcosm of the entire film, a quick glance at what's to come and how it'll make us feel. Feeling. Not thinking, feeling. This is why Punch Drunk Love is a film I consider to be a masterpiece. It's not trying to be a Christopher Nolan cerebral thought experiment. It's not trying to leave a bunch of clues for the audience to solve the puzzle. No, it's about provoking emotion. If you're paying close attention to the movie, the emotions you feel as you watch are the emotions you should absolutely trust. Because within these emotions is the truth, the answer you've been looking for. Okay, let me be more specific. I've read a few comments on the internet mentioning how the opening scene made no sense to them, how it was so random and strange and almost surreal. And here's the thing, if you felt that or thought that, then great job. That's what PTA wants you to feel. Are you asking questions? Fantastic! That's what PTA wants you to do, because that, my friends, is the point of the film. There are some things in life that we simply cannot make sense of, like frogs falling out of the sky. And to even attempt to make sense of it would be foolish. Instead, we work with it and do our very best with what the universe throws at us. I used to think that the theme of this film was that love is the meaning of life. How love can complete a person, how love can make a person better and stronger. Looking back, I don't think that was quite accurate enough. As Jesse Wallace once said,
I mean, happiness is in the doing, right? Not in the getting what you want.
taking risks, escaping that wonderful comfort zone, doing. Now that is the meaning of life. And Paul Thomas Anderson, through this wonderful opening scene that's meant to confuse you, or maybe frustrate you, or maybe even scare you, through this scene he asks you, the viewer, in the most random but fateful turn of events, what would you do?